Hello everyone, I'm back and today we'll be talking about stress, coping and recovery in understanding how stress connects to addiction. Um, so we'll be we'll be talking about what really is stress, what it does to us and why it's so hard to deal with, and how it's deeply connected to addiction. We'll also look at healthy coping skills that can help support your recovery. And we ought to understand that this is not about blame or judgment, it's about understanding your triggers and building tools you can use moving forward. So, we'll start with what is stress. Stress is your body's natural reaction to pressure, change, or challenges. And everyone experiences it. But the way we cope can look very different. Stress is something all humans experience. It's your body trying to protect you or help you adapt. The problem isn't stress itself, it's when we don't have healthy tools to manage it. That's where addiction often comes in, not as a failure, but as a coping strategy that eventually became harmful. We'll go through types of stress. There are 4 different types of stress. There is the short-term stress, the frequent stress, the long-term stress, and the traumatic stress. So, short-term stress is everyday challenges or annoyance, the things that just make you mad throughout the day. Then there is the frequent stress. This stress that keeps coming back from time to time. Long-term stress. This stress that lasts weeks, months, or even years. Then there is traumatic stress. This stress from past traumas or painful events. We always say that stress in a small bit is okay, but now when the stress becomes a little bit much or uncontrollable, now that's where the problem comes in. Many people in recovery experience more than one type of stress. For some, stress happens constantly. For others, it comes from past trauma. No matter the type, your experience is very varied and your reactions make sense based on what you've been through. I'll repeat myself once more so that you can understand. We've said many people in recovery experience more than one type of stress. For some, stress happens constantly. For others, it comes from past trauma. And no matter the type, your experience is very valid and your reactions make sense based on what you've been through. Another subtopic is common sources of stress, and especially during recovery. There are things like family or relationship conflicts. We realized that when we were still in our addiction, there are so many relationships that maybe might have been brought by. There are so many relationships that might have tuliharibu, for example family or relationships, and also they are a source of stress as well. You might realize that when some people find themselves drinking or or using drugs because of the family and relationship conflicts that they have constantly. Another source of stress is financial strains. Na hii economy, it becomes a little bit harder to, for some people, and especially for people who don't have good jobs or who don't have jobs. You have to sustain yourself, or you have to sustain your family or the people around you, and if you are struggling financially, it becomes a source of stress. And because you want to cope, or you just want to forget what you are going through for a moment, you find yourself going into drinking, or even using other drugs. Another source of stress is things like legal or housing challenges. If you don't have a place to stay, you have legal issues, it becomes stressful at times, and you can find yourself going using drugs. Then there is physical withdrawal and cravings. Yeah. When you use it becomes like a cycle, and now the cravings increase because of the increase in stress hormones. Then there is guilt, shame, or emotional pain. There are things that we might do that make us feel guilty or feel ashamed, or even have emotional pain because we don't know how to handle them. And now this becomes a source of stress. There's another source of stress, which is trying to rebuild daily routines. Yeah, when you start drinking, you find yourself unable to keep up with the daily routines, and sometimes you might realize that you need to go back to the routines, and now it becomes overwhelming. And when it's overwhelming, you might find yourself wanting to go back to the drugs to get the relief that you were you were looking for, and now that is a source of stress. Then there is memories of trauma. Maybe you had a traumatic experience earlier, and now it's coming back. That is it is stressing you, so it becomes a source of stress. Then there is feeling misunderstood. When you're in recovery, there are unique stressors. Healing your mind and body, reconnecting with family, dealing with responsibilities. It's a lot. You're not imagining it. Recovery takes strength, and stress along the way is normal. Sorry about the background noise. I'm so sorry about that. We can go to another subtopic, which is how stress affects your body and emotions. There are a couple of things that when you are stressful, you are. God, that chicken. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it is really irritating me. It is what it is. Moving forward, we'll get a better place to shoot our videos. So I was talking about how stress affects our body and emotions. There are a few things that come in with the stress, and especially when you're in recovery. So stress affects our sleep, it affects our mood, it affects our appetite. You realize that some people are unable to sleep when they are stressful, or others sleep too much. Others, they are moody, or yes, they are moody. Then there is appetite. There is either loss of appetite, or the appetite is a bit higher. Then when you're stressful, you are unable to have the right decision making. You are unable to decide, to have a clear decision making in your mind. Then you might realize when you're stressful, the cravings are very high. Also, there is an emotional instability when you are stressed. It increases fatigue. It also increases irritability and anxiety. When stress is high, the brain struggles to make clear decisions. That's not weakness, it's biology. You might feel overwhelmed, tired, or emotional. Stress also increases cravings because your brain remembers alcohol or drugs as a fast way to numb the discomfort, or a way to just help you feel normal for a moment. Another subtopic, which is why stress can trigger alcohol or drug use. And I believe most people relate very well with this. Many people use substances to escape emotional pain. Some just use it to feel calm. Others use drugs to just get some sleep, to be able to sleep. Others use substances to numb trauma. Some will use it to avoid thinking about the problems that are happening in their life, and others just use it to feel normal for a while. Most people don't start using to get addicted. They use to cope, to survive, or even to escape pain. When stress becomes too heavy, the brain looks for quick relief. Alcohol and drugs can feel like relief in the moment, but they often make stress worse later on. We will discuss that in the cycle. So, sorry, someone is interrupting us. I really am sorry, babe. So we can go to alcohol and stress and why they feed each other, because alcohol and stress feed each other. Alcohol may help you relax at first, but over time it increases anxiety, it disrupts sleep, it raises stress hormones, it blocks healthy emotional processing, and it creates cravings and dependency. Alcohol feels calming at first, but the crash afterward is hard. It raises stress hormones and disrupts your sleep, which increases tension and cravings the next day. This is why stress and alcohol use often becomes a cycle. Now, let me discuss. Let me show you how the addiction cycle is. So, at first, the stress increases. Someone uses alcohol or drugs to cope. There is temporary relief. But then, when you're sober, the stress rebounds even higher. Then there are more cravings, and then you go back to using again, and the cycle keeps repeating in yourself. It's like you use the stress, then you use to be able to cope or forget what is happening. Then you feel better for a moment. Then when you're not when you're sober, the stress comes in now higher than it was. Then there are more cravings from your body, and then you use again. It becomes a cycle. It's like you are repeating the same thing over and over again. So the cycle is familiar to many people in recovery. It's not because you're weak, it's because your brain is wired to seek relief. Once you understand the cycle, you can start breaking it. Also, we have to understand that some people are more vulnerable compared to others. Why are they vulnerable? Uh, Things like trauma history is one of the things that make more people vulnerable. There are things like family history of addiction. If like a few generations from where you are used to use, we are addicts, you might find yourself also as an addict. Then there is mental health struggles. These are things that can make you vulnerable to addiction. Growing up around substance use, there are stressful living conditions, lack of support from family, friends, or people that are around you, limited coping skills, which are not your fault. So no one chooses addiction. A lot of these factors are things you didn't choose or control. But what matters now is building new tools to protect yourself going forward. Another subtopic is recognizing when stress is becoming a trigger. How do we recognize that? How do we know that stress is becoming a trigger? For example, it's when you are having increased cravings, when you are having mood swings or impatience, when you're feeling like I need something to take, to just get to the edge of, to take the edge off, when you're having trouble sleeping, when you're isolating from support, or you're even refusing it, when you're feeling overwhelmed. A big part of recovery is learning to notice stress early, before it turns into cravings or relapse. Your body sends warning signs. Learning to listen to them is a form of self-protection. We always say that recovery is a journey. It is a journey that doesn't have a destination. So it's something that you have to keep doing every day to improve yourself and to ensure that you don't go back to relapse or you don't go back to using again. We can go to a different subtopic, which is healthy stress management tools. There are 4 different types of stress management tools that I'll be going through. That is physical stress management tools, there are emotional stress management tools, then there is mental stress management tools, and social stress management tools. I'll start with the physical ones. These are things like breathing techniques, breathing in and out when you're feeling overwhelmed. It can seem like a very small thing, but it really helps. There are things like exercise or stretching. Then there is drinking water and eating regularly. Sometimes you realize that when you're hungry, you might feel irritated or angry, and after you eat, you feel that you are okay. There is nothing that was actually bothering you. There are things like grounding techniques. These are things like when you feel overwhelmed or when you're in a stressful situation, you can just breathe in and out, then close your eyes and just ask yourself, or open your eyes and ask yourself, what are the 3 things that I can see around me? What are the 2 things that I can feel? That is something like your toes in your shoes. You can also feel the fabric of what you're wearing, and what is one thing that I can smell or I can taste. Those are the things that we're talking about when you see grounding techniques. So we've said in the physical stress management tools, there are things like breathing techniques, exercise or stretching. Then there's drinking and eating regularly and grounding techniques. We can go to the emotional bit of stress management tools. These are things like talking to a counselor or a peer, or even talking to a sponsor. There are things like journaling. There are things like letting yourself feel emotions without judgment. Don't criticize yourself. Just allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. And then we can go to the mental stress management tools. These are things like breaking tasks into small steps. When you have tasks that you have to do and you are feeling that they are so overwhelming, you can just break them into bits, and it becomes much easier because you are able to manage them. There are things like setting boundaries. Then there is practicing positive self-talk. Yeah, you have to be compassionate with yourself when you are in recovery, all the times you're supposed to be compassionate with yourself. It helps with your mental health. Then there is the social stress management tools. These are recovery groups, attending recovery groups. You can talk to a trusted friend or a family, or you can even go for peer mentors. You can have a peer mentor who will help you with your recovery. These tools won't remove stress completely. That is one thing that you have to understand, that these tools won't remove the stress completely, but they help you take control of they help you take control of it instead of letting it control you. You're able to control the stress now. You don't allow the stress to control you. Even small actions like taking deep breaths can interrupt the stress and craving connection. Another sub topic is practical coping skills you can use today. Some of the things that you can exercise every day in stressful situations. There are things like take a 5-minute walk or just take a walk. You can listen to calming music or just watch a movie or something that helps you calm. You can use grounding techniques. You can call a supportive person. You can practice gratitude, pray, or something of the sort. You can use a cold shower when you're feeling overwhelmed or the anxiety is on another level. You can attend a group meeting, and you can replace negative thoughts with neutral ones. You don't need big changes for big progress. Small coping skills used consistently can protect your recovery and reduce your stress quickly. When do you need to reach out for help? When you're in recovery. You can reach out when cravings feel strong, when emotions feel overwhelming, when you want to isolate, you just feel like you need to isolate, when you feel tempted to relapse, when you are dealing with traumatic memories, or when you feel ashamed or stuck. Asking for help is not a setback, it is a strength. Recovery is not meant to be done alone. Support can stop stress from turning into relapse. Why does support system matter in recovery? Support system can help you by listening without judging. They listen without judging you. They offer advice or encouragement where need be. They help you stay accountable. They remind you of your progress. They reduce shame and isolation, and they celebrate your wins. Support is one of the strongest tools you have. Whether it's a counselor, sponsor, a group, or a friend, having someone to turn to can make all the difference. As we finish, stress is normal, but unmanaged stress fuels addiction. Alcohol and drugs feel like relief but increase stress long term. Sorry guys, I'm sorry. My surrounding is a little bit, it's so much disturbance, but I keep going, right? So as I was saying, stress is normal, but unmanaged stress fuels addiction. Alcohol and drugs feel like relief, but they increase stress long term. Healthy coping skills help break the cycle. Support systems is very essential in recovery. Recovery is a journey, not a straight line. Like we always say, a journey is tunasemanga safari ni kupanda na kushuka. The same way, recovery is like a journey, not a straight line. Also, you deserve healing, peace, and support. To summarize it all, stress and addiction are deeply connected. But with awareness, support and healthy coping skills, you can break the cycle and build a life where stress no longer controls you. Your progress matters, your healing is real, and you are not alone in this. If you have any question or any comments, feel free to share. Just comment and I'll get back to you. So subscribe, share, and comment as always. Thank you. See you soon.